Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Well, I did some economics ones, as you probably saw earlier. So now we're back to football. I think it's easier this way. If you want to watch economics, you can go right to it. I'll just spend a little less time on football. Instead of going 3 hours, I can go like an hour and an hour and a half or something like that. All right, let's go through the lines first. And then the injuries and the weather. Baltimore, 9.5, 43.5, down from 44.5. There is some wind there, at least there was yesterday. Frisco also 9.5 and 50. Detroit 6.5 and 48. And Buffalo 2.5 and 45.5. So that under going down makes sense. The Buffalo doesn't unless of the weather. So let's go to our weather site. Houston, Baltimore. We got Zay Flowers questionable. We got Woods and Metsy questionable for Houston. We have 26 degrees and 23-mile-an-hour wind. So it is windy in Baltimore, which would make this an under game because it's very hard to throw. It becomes more of a running game. Again, what I thought I was going to get in the Buffalo game last weekend until they fucking delayed it on us. Bastards. You can't just change these games. I mean, people are betting them. They're not waiting until, it's kickoff time now, I'll bet. So everybody's questionable. I'll have to take a deeper dive into that. But we are looking at a sunny day, 26 and windy. And this will be Stroud playing at Ohio State. I'm sure he got some colder weather. But at Houston, it's sunny and warm, and they're in a dome. And this is the problem with dome teams. As soon as they get in with the cold weather, they really have a tough time. So keep that in mind. So will we get the high score we think we will? Green Bay and Frisco, we've got very light winds, 58 degrees, possible rain. The weather shouldn't be too hurtful unless we get an outdoor driving rain. It's funny how the injuries change. Now Aaron Jones and Watson and Reed on Green Bay are questionable. They weren't questionable yesterday. Now they're not playing, so I don't know why all of a sudden are they questionable today. And today's what, Wednesday, I think. Yeah. I don't know. They practiced, I guess. I'm sure they'll play. Biggest game they've ever played. I'm sure they'll be playing. Detroit and Tampa in a dome. Godwin, the receiver for Tampa, is questionable. Detroit's healthy. That's funny. Sam Laporta limps away. Doubtful. Plays. Now he's not even on the injury list. Did the injury heal in a week? I kind of doubt it. But it's in a dome in KC Buffalo. 23 degrees and 14-mile-an-hour winds is the same as yesterday. So the only place for weather is the Baltimore game. Now let's look for the other injuries. Something I'm glad about. I only have to go through 8 teams, not the whole freaking league. All right. So, Baltimore. A lot of questionables. Can't imagine anybody sitting out. And then you got your IR people. On the IR, anybody we know, Jabo, the linebacker from Michigan, and J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State. Questionable, it's hard. Hamilton from Notre Dame, Duvernay, the receiver, Zay Flowers, but they're just questionable injuries, and Mike Adams, Andrews, the tight end. So they're all questionable ankles, calves. You assume they're going to play. Buffalo. Big game with Kansas City. Nothing really major. Detroit. See, Laporte is probable with the knee. That's it. They don't really have anybody. Green Bay. Now, Watson's questionable. Reed's questionable. Watson with the hamstrings, what he's had. Reed has a chest. He'll play. This Jair Alexander got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. It was pretty severe, but I'm sure he'll play. A.J. Dillon has a stinger. He's questionable. Didn't play last week. The tackles, one's questionable. The other's on IR. And I don't see Jones, the running back, at all. So I don't know what to make of that. Houston. I don't know enough of anybody on here to say, oh, he's out. So I guess it's just Stroud, and the running back would be that, and they're not on there. Kansas City. Tony with the hip. I never heard of these other ones. McKinnon, the running back's out. He's nothing. So they're pretty healthy. San Fran, Greenlaw is questionable with an Achilles. Now, he's a really good linebacker. McCaffrey, probable with the calf. Jennings, wide receiver, questionable with a concussion, so he'll play. So they're pretty healthy. Tampa Bay, wide receiver Jarrett is questionable. They only have 4 guys listed, so they're real healthy. So really nothing with the injuries. So we look at the weather. We got the Baltimore game. With 23-mile-an-hour winds, not on a lake. Buffalo, you think you'd have the problem on the lake, is only 14-mile-an-hour winds. So, and I don't see snow coming as of Wednesday. So let's break it down. Houston's an even team. They score 24. They give up 22. Baltimore, the 8 team. They score 30, give up 20. So you're about 10 points higher. That's how you get an 18. You got a very strong offense. You got a very strong defense. Problem is their offense is centered around Lamar. Big question mark. 23-mile-an-hour winds means you're not going to throw. He can't throw anyway. Will it hurt Stroud, who does throw a lot? Now they both have good defenses. Houston at 22, Baltimore at 20. We got Stroud against Lamar. Stroud was 23-5 last week. Did he throw some touchdowns? Let's say he's 25-5. Lamar didn't play. We've got, so they're the better teams, Baltimore. They're the 1 seed, obviously. They're at home. They got the wind. So, not sure what we can say about that. You're laying 9.5. You can go to 3.5. But can you trust Lamar? Can we trust Stroud? Can we trust the quarterbacks? No, absolutely not. Stroud played good at home against Cleveland. Okay, should have won. Got the win. But now he's outdoors against Baltimore. Can we trust him? We don't know. We've never seen him on a road playoff game because this is his first year. My guess says he throws a couple of picks because he just won't see it. So I don't really know what to get out of him. Lamar, we've seen enough where he chokes in every playoff game. So we can't count on Lamar minus 3.5. So that leaves us to they're taking Houston at 15. Scared of the Baltimore defense and Lamar and Stroud. Or we can go over 43. We can go over 37, but we have a wind problem, 23-mile-an-hour winds. This is almost going to be like a Friday night bet. Since we don't know the wind, you really can't go over in the wind unless it's one of these winds that this team gets to win this quarter and the other team's against it, and then they switch quarters. So one team has the win and one team doesn't. Or is it a crosswind? We don't know. The way Baltimore's offense has looked, it's really hard to stop. So look for that. So haven't come up with the score yet. I'm waiting on the wind. I think Baltimore does win, even with Lamar against Houston. I don't think they can beat Kansas City. That's where they're going to have their test, is Kansas City, Mahomes. It's very hard to beat a guy like that, right? You got the ace of spades. It's very hard to beat him. So you have that. I still think it's probably an over, but let's hope the win goes down to 16-17, like in the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game. Because I don't think Houston's got a very good defense, and I do think they can score on them, but then I do think Houston can score on Baltimore. Green Bay and the Niners. Green Bay beats Dallas by 65 points. And it wasn't that close. The Niners are the Niners. They missed 2 weeks now. That's going to hurt them. So this is after 3 weeks. Purdy finally gets to play. McCaffrey questionable with the calf. I would think he'd be okay. We could wear the calf thing Joe Burrow wore. Green Bay, also an even team, score mid-20s, give up mid-20s, so not that strong defense. The Niners are the A team. Same thing. They score 30, they give up 20. Very strong defense. Love against Purdy. Love was 32 and 11, and then I even updated it. So he's 32 and 11 last week. Purdy didn't play, so I don't have his touchdown interception stats. I know they're pretty good, obviously. Teaser trend. There is a trend on Green Bay as a road dog. Wins nothing, 9 mile an hour. I think Green Bay in 15 is pretty good. Pretty good. 15 points in Green Bay. Judging by the Dallas game, Dallas couldn't stop with Micah Parsons. Hence the problem. Dak Prescott, right? So if Frisco runs the ball down their throat with McCaffrey and they hit Kittle and they hit Deebo Samuel, Green Bay's not going to get the ball as much and they're going to be behind and Frisco's going to go after them. It's critical. Against Dallas, they took the lead. And then it was they could do whatever they wanted. Dallas couldn't just, we're going to blitz you. Because they were running down their throats. But if the Niners get the lead, they're going to blitz them, then this guy's done. Is Love any good? I don't know. Yes, give him credit. He did win at Dallas, a playoff game. Very good. Good marks. Can he go to Frisco and win? Good point. Now, one thing I've noticed in watching these games, you've got this group of 4 or 5 people. The Shanahan boy, the Frisco, the Ram coach McVay, the Miami coach, and the Green Bay coach, all coached under Mike Shanahan at Washington, right? So they all learned the same Shanahan offense. And so you start asking yourself, well, if you can beat one, you can beat all, or you can't beat any of them. Well, since Frisco is one of the 4 coaches, how did they play the Rams with McVay? And that's what Green Bay is. Green Bay is basically the Rams because it's the same offense, right? Although Stafford's much better than Love, they still with the running attack and the passing. So in that game, Frisco won 30-28. Over under here is 50. So I definitely like over 44. I think Green Bay scores, and I think the Niners will score and score and score. I think the Niners win this game much easier than Baltimore beats Houston, a lot because of the wind. But the way Baltimore's been playing, it's hard to go against them. And you really got to look at these guys are wide open. They don't even pressure Lamar for some reason. So he's just sitting back there. So this would be a very interesting one. I think you go over here. The 9.5 down to 3.5, probably okay. There's the Packers scare me. Well, okay, they beat Dallas. This ain't Dallas. This is Frisco. This is on grass. This is, you're in a dome. Now you're on grass in San Francisco. So in my mind, I think Frisco wins by about a touchdown. I think that 30-23 score against the Rams, like week 6 or 7, I think is probably what you're looking at. They had trouble with this 49er defense, but the coach knows the offense because he coached it with Shanahan. This is what, Shanahan Jr., I think. So he knows his dad's coaching, and here comes Green Bay with his dad's coaching. He should know how to defend it. So I think the Niners are good here, and but I do like the over probably better. I think it'll be high scoring. The Niners, even when they blow out somebody, they put up 40 points. The blowout wins against Philly and Dallas, they put up 40. They play high scoring. They just keep piling it on. Then they get some pick sixes and stuff. I think Green Bay plays. I think this is like 35-23 or something like that. I'd be careful with Green Bay as the dog against the Niners. But I think you're okay. I think over is the play. I wouldn't go under in the game. Tampa Bay, Detroit. Detroit 6.5. Tampa's an under team. They don't score a lot. They give up 23. Detroit's an over team. They score 30 and give up 27. So their defense really isn't there. You can see you can throw all over this team. The Rams did two long touchdown passes. Jefferson on Minnesota and Dallas, CD Lamb got 200 yards. So not a really good secondary. They could probably get to Mayfield. I don't like Tampa's running as well as the Rams had a really good running back. Tampa Bay doesn't. I don't know. I watched Tampa last week and everybody dropped all the passes. I mean, what the fuck was I watching? It's a playoff game. And they dropped 6 passes. The wide receiver, Evans, dropped 2, one right in his hands in the end zone. I don't know what I'm getting here. I don't think Tampa can win the game. I think it's Detroit even. They seem to be very emotional at home, which is very unusual that they're so high-pitched for so long. It's like you're eating at the dinner and you haven't eaten in a week, and here comes ribs and steaks, at the table, and you're just munching away at it. That's what it seems like. Like they've never seen football before. They've never seen a playoff game. Barry Sanders was here. They went to the playoffs, and they were in the playoffs a few years ago when they fired that one coach for only going 11-5. So Detroit in the playoffs is not unusual. I don't get all the big deal about it. Now, Mayfield against golf. Detroit with an under team. So it's hard to take Detroit because their defense is not going to stop anybody. Yeah, they got Hutchinson. Okay, fine. Who cares? Tampa's got Larry David and a few others. So they're pretty strong defensively. Beating Philly means nothing. Philly sucked. If that coach doesn't get fired, I don't know what a coach has to do to get fired. And Detroit, good running. They beat them 20-6 in Tampa earlier in the year. It probably should be similar. Detroit threw the ball all over. I don't think Detroit can run on Tampa, so it's going to be more throwing. Philly did nothing, but Philly, they didn't have their best player, Brown, didn't play the receiver. They didn't really run. Jalen Hurts sucks, so you got what you think with Jalen Hurts. He's better when he can run, but they were so pathetic, and their defense sucked. You're not going to get the same. So you can't look at Tampa, Philly, and get anything out of it. Game's not in Tampa, and they're not playing Philly. And that's what you've got to realize. This is what so many people don't get. Games in Tampa is not in Tampa, and they're not playing Philly. I don't know why it's such a hard thing for people to grasp. Well, look what they did last week. Like Green Bay. Oh, they put up 48 in Dallas. Well, the game is not in Dallas, and they're not playing Dallas. They're playing San Francisco, a whole different animal here. And they have a quarterback and a running back, unlike Dallas. So looking at Detroit, Tampa, I think Detroit wins. I'm not sure of the points. I don't see a high-scoring game here. But Detroit, I think you got to take Detroit. I think you get Detroit 28-10 or something. I don't know that you get it's 48-42. However, I'm scared of 54, but I just don't see where Tampa scores a lot of points because I don't think they have the CD Lamb or the Jefferson to get open and get 200 yards in this game. Or even the Rams with Pukanuka was incredible. I had never seen a game with Pukanuka, but man, did he. He looked really strong. So Tampa doesn't have that. Evans, to me, is nothing. Mayfield, sorry. He's as bad as Lamar. So I think Detroit wins the game at the bottom line. 23-10, 23-14. I just don't know that Tampa can generate enough offense to do anything. It's in Detroit. They'll be fired up as they seem to be. So that's the problem. So I just don't see Tampa. I don't know how to bet it over or under. I guess under, because Tampa just doesn't score that much. Maybe they have a good defense, but Detroit's got an over team, and you need both sides to be the same. In other words, I had the over in the Tampa Philly game, and Tampa got that last touchdown, got me over, and I got a 41, and I needed 37, I think. I thought they would score a lot on Philly's weak defense, but I thought Philly would score, which they didn't. Detroit will score. Tampa against the Detroit defense should score because it's a weak defense, but I don't know. I just see I don't know that I trust Tampa to get enough points for me. I need 42. So I need 24-20 and I'm a winner. Am I going to get – I think Detroit gets you 24, but Detroit in the second half didn't show up either. All they kicked was one field goal the whole second half against the Rams. Aaron Donald got them pumped up there, and they played a hell of a second half. The Rams should have won the game. There's that pass interference that wasn't called. What kind of crap was that? So I think Detroit should win, but you got to be careful betting on Goff. He's a joke, and I don't know that Mayfield's much better. Again, you have basically 7 lousy quarterbacks in Mahomes. KC Buffalo, I think this is pretty obvious. Take KC as the dog. I think that's an automatic right there. Let me mark that in, Nick. So everybody knows it. I think that's the play. That's the play. And then it's just really we're waiting on Baltimore with the wind. So KC Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, KC's an under team because they're not scoring because of the receivers, but they got a great defense. Buffalo's an A team because they score, but I don't know. Their defense is a 20, but I don't see a 20 defense out there. Pitt got 17 on them. But I like KC with a strong defense, held Miami to nothing, and I see the same thing here. I think this will be lower scoring and a very close game. Here I can trust Mahomes. See, here I want to bet Mahomes. I don't want to bet Mayfield. I don't want to bet Love. I don't want to bet Stroud, and I don't want to bet Lamar. That much is obvious. Can I trust Goff or Mayfield? I don't think so. How about Purdy? He did win some playoff games last year. He beat Dallas. So, I think that'll be a very good game, the Green Bay Frisco and the Kansas City Buffalo. Tampa, Detroit. I think Detroit wins, and it's 6.5. It's just win the game. And then Houston, Baltimore. Can we trust Lamar? Well, he's going against Stroud, so we know we can't trust Stroud. Now, the Houston fans don't understand. Look what he did and at Ohio State. And then I point to the Michigan games against Ohio State where he doesn't show up. Yeah, but he threw for 300 yards, and they lost the game by 20. I don't care about the stats. Look at who threw for 300 yards last week. Dak Prescott threw for 300 yards. Yeah, they only lost by 16. They were all junk time touchdowns and yards. So it really doesn't mean anything. So with that said, I like the over if the wind dies because I think Houston can score a little bit on them, and Baltimore will put up a lot on them. I think Baltimore gets to 30 if we don't get this huge wind. The wind dies, then Lamar can be more accurate. If the wind keeps up, I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring because he can't hit the broadside of a barn. I've never seen. He's an NFL quarterback, and he can't hit the broadside of a barn. So not sure what to do with Lamar. Anyway, so let's go with the free pick, Kansas City. Take them as the dog. I think that's pretty sure. You got Lamar in 8.5. If you lose, you lose with Lamar in 8.5, or with Mahomes at 8.5. But they play Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. They play Buffalo. I'm losing my mind. They play Buffalo, but they always beat them. It's going to be close. It's going to be a tight game. I love Kansas City's defense. I love Baltimore's defense. So let's look at the defenses. Houston's a 22 and Baltimore's a 20. These are the last 7 games, not counting week 18. I didn't count it. Nobody played, nobody cared, so let's stay away from it. So the 7 before, so up to weeks 10 to week 17, let's say. And then because the first 3 weeks are meaningless, these guys haven't done preseason. They're not ready to go. There's all these injuries. See, this is what the league, they're trying to, we don't want anybody to get hurt. And then everybody gets, I've never seen so many injuries in my life because they don't do preseason. What are you doing? You've got to get your defensive players ready to play. And the only way you can do it is to have them play. They got to play at least a half in the preseason, and it should be 4 games. I don't like that there's 3 and a bye. The bye is the worst thing you can do because then these players are resting, and then here comes game 1. They haven't played 5 minutes of football yet, and you got them playing a whole game. And then they all have hamstring injuries. Jesus Christ. Who's the idiot behind all that? It's a mess. So that's why the first 3 weeks I don't really count. And then so let's go to the last 7. So anyway, Houston at 22, Baltimore at 20. You got Green Bay at 24, Frisco at 20. You've got Tampa at 23, Detroit at 27. And you got KC at 21 and Buffalo at 20. So the KC Buffalo game should be the best one. Detroit's defense, you got to worry about. They won, 20? What was it? It was 24-23. And I'll tell you, Detroit didn't score the second half. They get 1 field goal. So the Rams lit them up pretty good. So Tampa doesn't have Stafford. And they don't have Kukanuka. So I don't see Tampa really being a big like they're lucky to be in the playoffs. They got the home game against Philly, which is like playing Michigan State, and they got the win. That's about it. So let's see. So Houston, Baltimore. Baltimore with the 20 defense and the win. If the win hits 25, we'll have to go under 43, but it probably won't be 43 at that point. But if the win dies, I do like the game over because Baltimore scores a ton. I think we got to go with Baltimore if there's high wins to win. I don't think they'll lose, even with Lamar. Green Bay Niners should be a good game, high scoring, close. They play the Rams 30-23, and this is the same offense as they have and the Rams have and the Dolphins have. It's the same thing, which is the problem with the league. They're all running the same fucking offense and the same stupid defense. So once you learn one, you learn them all. Although there are some switches where a team will play man-on-man versus zone, and sometimes the offenses aren't exactly the same, but pretty close. But I'm so sick of the zone. So anyway, I think the Niners win. I think it's high scoring. The weather's not a factor. Love, I mean, you got to give them credit for beating Dallas the way they beat them. But this is the Niners. So keep that in mind. Don't be just, look, they beat Dallas. They'll beat San Francisco. They'll beat Detroit. They'll beat whoever, they'll beat Kansas City and win the Super Bowl. It doesn't work like that. It's a one-game matchup. Now you got the next game. It's poker. You get dealt a hand, you win it. Now you get the next hand. That doesn't continue on. Tampa Bay, Detroit, a 23 defense against the 27. You worry, but Tampa doesn't have the firepower of the Rams, and the Rams could only get 23 on them. So pretty close to the 27. I think Tampa gets probably 17, maybe 20, but I doubt it. Detroit should be in the 20s. They seem to be able to score. And Tampa, fucking Philly 32-9. I mean, I don't know. Philly's so bad. See, this is where you get exposed. Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback, but people think he is for some reason. It's a lot like Lamar. They're good runners, but they're not good quarterbacks. This is my knock on Lamar. You get a high win day, goodbye Lamar, because he can't complete a pass. That's the problem with it. Where Mahomes, it don't matter. He's a good quarterback. Joe Burrow, good quarterback. And that's what you look. And that's so now we get to golf and we don't know what we got. We've seen him in some pretty shitty Pac-10 championship game. He choked 5 picks. We get him here. Choked in a lot of games, and then we get to the playoff game last week. Chokes in the second half, 21-17 in the end at half, and they get a field goal the second half. That's not championship football. That is very lucky that they got the win because of a bad pass interference call that wasn't called, or the Rams are winning 26-24, and we're talking Tampa and the Rams, or we're talking the Rams and Green Bay, which would have been a great game. So here, Tampa doesn't really fit. Detroit, I'm not really sold on. They are at home, so I think Detroit wins. And as we said, KC Buffalo, 21 in a 20 defense. This should be a very strong game. So Baltimore, Houston, let's check the weather. Frisco, Green Bay should be kind of close, kind of high scoring. Tampa, Detroit, I think Detroit wins by 10, probably a low scoring game. And then KC Buffalo is a classic, 24-23 type of game. So that's the NFL playoffs. We see no real injuries. Teaser trends. We have a trend on Green Bay as a road dog. The play teams in a teaser. Tampa Bay is 15-3. Baltimore is 14-3, betting them in a teaser. Kansas City bet against is 15-3, but never as a dog. And Philly's out. So really have Tampa and Baltimore you should bet on. And then play against Kansas City. But again, that's as 7-8 point favorites, and they win the game by 3, but they don't. But you could have taken 14. Here, they're the dog, so you kind of got to ignore that 15-3 because they're usually the favorite. I'm actually surprised they're the dog, just because it's Mahomes, So anyway, that's where I'm at. We will put in scores tomorrow. And really, we just got to wait for that Baltimore win. I think we're set on the Green Bay game, set on the Detroit game, and free play, take Kansas City as the dog. Coaching news, I don't know anybody hear anything with the coaches going or not. I don't know that Belichick goes to Dallas. I saw he might go to Atlanta. I think it's a big mistake. I think the guy's all done. I think the guy doesn't care. He's not trying to rebuild. I think he's had enough. I think he quit 3 years ago when he lost Brady. They haven't done shit since they lost Brady. So that's where I'm at with that. And I don't know how many other – there's no real – Coach Pete, I guess. If I was Dallas, I might take Coach Pete. But I don't know. There's always, it seems like 7-8 coaches a year now that leave. I find that they don't know what they're doing when they pick these coaches. Well, he's the offensive coordinator, so I'm going to take him. Has he ever coached before? No. I've seen the Lions do it for years now. They get the offensive defensive coordinator of Team X. The guy's never coached before, and he looks like he's never coached before. He's terrible. So that's the big problem there. What else? So I'm not even going to talk draft yet. Let's just stick on the playoffs. It's going to be tough to beat Baltimore and Frisco. That's for sure. I think KC Buffalo is a classic, but I think KC can beat Baltimore and can beat Buffalo. They're the only team because they got Mahomes. I think Detroit's really going to struggle with Tampa, but there's no way they'll beat the Niners. I don't think they'll beat the Niners or Green Bay. So Detroit's loving it. They're all excited. They won a game. Okay, calm down, people. All of a sudden, walking into the pool, and in the lobby, and all these people with Detroit Lions gear on, and I'm like, would you lose a bet? Like, what the? They're so stupid. I wouldn't. You'd have to pay me $1,000 to wear a Lion sweatshirt or hat or anything. I don't know. I'm a little tired today. I'm a little bit perplexed with Daria. Everything's good, and then I haven't heard from her in 3 days. I don't think she's working today because I haven't seen her on since 10 o'clock. So I'm like freaking out, like, what's going on? And I don't know what to do with it. I think we're really good. I don't think she's like fooling around on me. I never think that. But I don't know where are you? Like, where's the hello, good morning? Here's what I'm doing today. And so that kind of bothers me. So I'm a little bit perplexed right there. And usually if I don't hear from her by the morning, I'm not going to hear now because it's 5 o'clock. It's like midnight there. But I keep thinking logically, well, what's she doing? She can't text me. And then she only texts me when she needs something. Although not always. She does say good morning and stuff like that. So I don't know. This one's a real perplexed one. I heard from her the other day. She said the internet was slow or out or problems, but now it's back. So maybe the internet's out. I don't know. But I can tell when she works, she's every half hour or so, she's on with her daughter. And she can't talk to me because of her work policy. This is Russia. Says they won't let me use the phone unless it's family. And then so she must check a lot of messages. But today I don't like. She was on early in the morning, and then she was on at 10, and that's it, and nothing else. And and I don't know how much. I'm just we're in good shape, so I don't know what to do with her. As far as it's not like, and then you go on like Google, like, whoa, what's going on? And these people don't have a clue. Well, she's tired of you. 1041. She's tired, but no, we have our relationship for a few years now. We're just waiting to meet because of the fucking war. So I don't really think that's an issue. I don't think she's not texting me because she's bored of me or got somebody else who doesn't want to talk to me. I never get that. I don't think it. Normally she says I'm working. Now I think she gets busy after work and then with her daughter. And they have the same fucking homework we do here. So I think she just gets busy with work and gets home and doesn't think, about texting me. And I think she knows that I'm with her. So I don't think that's an issue about I need to text Howard. I'm different though. When I wake up, I text her and the other gals, and but that's just me saying hello to everybody. But that's me, and she doesn't need to do. She like she says, you're different than the Russian boys, and I'm like, yeah. Tell me how I'm different. What's the difference? Do you not text them? So every once in a while, I go 3 or 4 days and freak out when I don't hear from her. Usually she's working. And all I ask is just tell me you're working then. Like, it bothers me. So I don't know. I'm sure if I don't hear from her tomorrow morning, I'm going to really be losing it because I know I won't hear from her during the afternoon just because of the time change. But I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just so frustrating. It's like, fuck. Because I don't know. She's in Russia. I don't know she's okay. It's not like here where the girl, you work with her, she lives close by. Here, she's in Russia. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know if the fucking mafia got her. You just don't know. Maybe she's sick. Maybe something happened. And it's cold there, just like here. So I don't know. She's been working a lot. Like I said, it's unusual that she was on at 10:40 and then I haven't seen her the rest of the day. What can she be doing that she can't text? So that's maybe the internet had went out a few days ago and she told me it went out. And I says, well, if it happens again, email me if you can't, if WhatsApp doesn't work. So it could be the internet because of this cold weather. So we will see. But again, that's what I want to know. That was our last text. But I get uncomfortable not hearing from somebody that you're with for 3 or 4 days. Well, I guess if you're married and you call your wife, are you okay? She says, yeah, I'm fine. And if you didn't hear from your wife for 3 days, 4 days, you'd be freaking out. So that's where I'm at. I know everything's fine with us, but I don't know. I just gave her money for her two fillers. What do you call them? The teeth. And she just got them put in. So she was all excited and happy about it. So I know we're on good terms. I never give her a reason not to be. So very, very frustrating on my end because I can't. But I'm not going to play stupid, and I'm not going to say, well, fine, I'm not going to text you for 3 days. I hate that. I will not be a vampire and say what's good for the goose. Now, how do you feel if I don't text you for 3 days? I don't want to do that because I know it hurts. And I know she depends on me. And I know if she doesn't hear from me for 3 days, she'd absolutely freak out. And I don't want to put her through that. I don't like going through it myself. But anyway, that's more trying to be stoic. You try to just go on with your day, realize everything's fine, realize if she could text you, she would, and off you go, and not try to put myself in her place where, well, when I, wake up, I text her. Well, she's got to run to work. She can't text me at work. They work like 10, 11-hour days in Russia. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but it doesn't look like she worked today because, again, she was on at 3 a.m. and then 10, and that was it. Normally she's on every hour because she's working and she's checking, if her daughter texts her. So I don't know what to make of it, but I'll hear from her. I mean, she'll need food money, so I help her with that. But and I tell her it's really frustrating when I don't hear from you. So I know she knows that, and I just don't know what's going on. Very frustrating. Anyway, have a good day. Any questions or comments, let me know. It's interesting. I bring in a little of my personal life. I don't mind it. I think it's teaching you, like, I'm sure we all go through it where, you don't hear from somebody that you're close to for 3 or 4 days and you're like freaking out, like, what's going on? And normally I just ask her, just let me know if you're going away for 3 days or you're doing something for 2 or 3 days and you can't, kind of like, she usually tells me I'm going to work. And then when she works, she doesn't text me. Okay, I get that. But I always go, well, when you wake up, why don't you text me? Or when you go to the bathroom or when you get home, why don't you text me? And that's the only part. But when she gets home, she does homework with her daughter. And it's probably late at night and it's probably exhausted and needs to go to sleep. So I understand that. I know it's family stuff, not, I got a boyfriend and, it's not your turn. I don't ever think that. No, never. So anyway, have a good night. We'll go through scores tomorrow as I can think of them. And so I hope you understand that. So I do an economics class for an hour, hour and a half, and then I do the football. I can switch orders if it's easier for people. Because I realized I didn't get as many viewers, but I came on later, but I came on earlier for economics. So I think by breaking it out, if you really want to know economics, you can just go on that. And if you want the football, you can just come to the football. Because I know people come for both. And like Bobby likes the economics, so he can go on that one. But he also likes the football. But if I do a 3-hour, you don't know where to go. And normally I try to do all the football together and then do the economics together. But, if you're looking for one or the other, it could be a pain. But anyway, so I can switch times and I can switch order. It doesn't. I can do football first or that. But anyway, so football, as we get down, there's just 4 games, so it's much easier. College would take me an hour because it was so many games. So what do I do now? Off season college, just keep track of the transfer portals, the new coaches, which I usually ring about in the spring. I don't really care about all that now. And in the pros, I don't care. Whoever the coach is, I'll know next year. It really doesn't matter now where does Bill Belichick go or Coach Pete. We can't bet him unless he goes to KC or Buffalo. So anyway, that's what's going on. So it should be interesting playoffs as long as it's Saturday, Sunday. This Monday, I did not like the Monday playoff. I thought that was just to have it Saturday and Sunday. There's plenty. All right. Well, I think that's about it. So we're ready. Close. Your free pick will be Kansas City as a dog, which Mahomes. Win or lose, you bet Mahomes. It's a good bet. There's nothing else you can do but make a good bet, and you try to go from there. All right. Okay. I gotta take a nap. I gotta eat. I gotta go to a grocery store. I need some chocolates. My dark chocolate. It's funny how you get the craving. You eat dark chocolate, you don't realize it gives you a sweet tooth. I'm dying for some sweets, but I'll just have the dark chocolate and not chocolate cake. But it is rough. All right, everybody. Well, have a good night. I will see you. Let me know what time you want. Yesterday I did it in the morning and one in the afternoon. Today I was real tired, so I slept in. Worried about Daria, and then it's funny, I get a text from Jenna in the morning. I don't know who it is. I just hear a text because it makes a sound. And I go, oh, good, it's Daria. And then it's Jenna, and I'm like, fuck. She's supposed to text me at 3 in the morning, not at 7. So anyway, it's just funny how that is. But I usually, when I get a text, I get happy because I think it's Daria. Anyway, crazy life. All right. Have a good night. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody.